Theme song. December of 1744, and a dull gray smoke rises in the distance from the town. Some folks wonder what it is, but others, like Sonsiadar, know exactly what it is because they've been filling it up for weeks now. It's our lime kiln, and I believe we finally have some lime on the way. I don't know how viable of a industry it is because, as you can see here, we only have 4,000 limestone left here and 9,000 left here. So that might not even be enough to do another batch. And the only other limestone on the map is all the way across here. We've got 10,000 here and another 10,000 over here. So how much of that will be usable for another batch? I don't know. We'd have to build all the way out here or build a kiln here and then ship it back somehow. It's just not a very sustainable industry, I think, for our people. But that's okay because there's a couple of places that sell lime, so we might be able to just get it from them as opposed to, going through this whole process. But it's expensive, so we'll have to offset it by, of course, selling the products, which I don't think will be a problem once we start bringing in fairly decent supplies of lime. So this has given us 10,000 quick lime, of which 100 is already reserved. So 10,000 quick lime is, it's not bad. I assume, yeah, so these folks are going to make the lime. So if we were to import lime, that would take this lime works out, and it would take the lime kiln out of necessity as well. However, 10,000 lime is not bad. That'll see us through a fair amount of production because I'm not even sure how much lime we actually need here. 100 lime. So depending on how much, if it's like 10,000 to make 100 lime, that'll be a problem. But we'll see how that goes. But we return in the winter to find. Here, I'll turn the problems back on. To find not many problems. Folks have what they need for the winter. The fish is still an issue here. I tried to make this guy Oh, they did get salt. Only produce. Okay. So salt has finally gotten there. It was having a problem getting salt for some reason. I just thought it was too far away. But it looks like my little strategy is paying off, and we'll have some salted fish being made there soon. I think what I did was it this one? Yeah, so I've got a worker who's tasked with getting salt from one of the workshops around here. This one. So the worker from there grabs it from over there. The worker from here grabs it from over here. So there's kind of a production chain of salt, which brings salt across the river and over there. Now, it's a little ways away, but I think that's not bad. So we'll start to accrue dried fish here. Let's put that up to like 2,000. I just kind of want to sell dried fish. I want that as a product, not necessarily hoping to sell it to people to eat. We have enough fresh ingredients here that I don't think I need to worry about it for right now. So Solidsky, I'll say it right. Solidsky is coming along well. I do still feel a little bad about the placement of these narrow roads, and I'm thinking we can, right that wrong in a little bit here. So first and foremost, what I think we need are some more folks out here because I'd like to start this fishing dock and this fishing dock, and they're going to need somewhere to live. So I think we should get a few more houses in here, and this could be a small grid here because eventually I'd love to chop the rest of these trees down and then get some more farmland in here, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. That's a lot of trees to remove, and I'd rather just start farming this wide open area because that was just a tremendous amount of work to get worked in. However, we do need some folks to live here, so let's expand our housing even more. I think we can go, let's go F1 here. I forget who left me the comment. Maybe it was on a previous video. I'll have to try to find it, but they said that these thin allotments are actually something you would have seen. So it may be old Ukraine or even just old sort of, old-timey towns. So I like the thin allotment, but I want to kind of carry this on. So we'll carry on here. And we'll give them that thin allotment there. And these folks will be, this is for our fishers. Now, I know what you're thinking. Normally I like a nice compressed fishing village, and I think we can still do something similar, but let's at least get these. Yeah, that's going to look nice, kind of curving off and around there. And there's plenty of room there, so let's enter. Let's get that one committed. And let's get another one right next to it. That feels good. Let's F1 and carry on sort of the shape here. And then I think what we can do is a set of nice long houses here. Now this folks, you heard me. This family here has quite a lot of space. So we'll just get that kind of like, oops. Just kind of curve it a bit more. And there we are. That feels pretty good. That feels quite nice. That's a lot of land for them to have. But, you know, it's worth it. It'll pay in dividends when we try to sell raspberries to the... Oh, no, I didn't want that. When we try to sell raspberries to the other townships and stuff, we'll have these nice big farm, you know, allotments that we can take advantage of. So I think if we line that up like so, we can do something like this and kind of pull that one a little bit like so. And then, yeah, I guess we can just have that something like that. No, let's pull it back, actually. Let's have it turn a corner. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, so these folks obviously will maybe make a little less food than the large allotment behind, but, you know, life is not fair. And the folks here in Solidsky definitely know that to be true. However, I think I've been keeping some of them afloat with cash injections, but honestly, keeping them around, keeping them in their jobs, and keeping these families feeling like they have a home here has led to a fairly nice and stable economy. Okay, it's not letting me place it because I think this fence is not quite lining up. Oh, because because it's probably, yeah. So this fence actually isn't gonna quite do what we want it here. So we'd have to hold down Alt, and place it, you know, as close as we can in a sort of a fake manner, like so. So that allows the placement of that house, and we can place another one opposite it here. With going again with that sort of thin allotment look, because I quite like how that turns out when they're built. So these folks are kind of together. They, you know, and maybe there's a communal sense of like these houses being close together. That does help cut down on any drafts from that back door, you know, the back wall rather, which doesn't have any windows in it. Well, there is a little window there. Okay, fine, I'll give them a yard. And I'll rescind my defense. But even so, on a field, even just having a house somewhat nearby must cut down some draft, surely, and make for a more comfortable life. Pull this fence forward just a little bit here. That's fine. They can cut that tree. There we are. So we have a few more houses coming in for the farmers there. There's a lot of work to get done there, and we'll put those on hold for now so we can make sure that we don't run into any issues. And I think in the spirit of placing more homes, you know, all this will get probably housed eventually, but this area here should be densely packed with homes. And we could even maybe take our embargo on the church building off and kind of start building this church. But I'd love it to have a bunch of houses around it first. I think if we put a house right in this corner, I think that's possible. I'd like to keep this street, though, if that's doable. I almost said if that's okay, but well, you guys are just watching me play. Actually, to do this, I'm going to have to delete this fence here, so that's okay. I do kind of want to use this opportunity, though, to make these roads a little more spacious if I can. So rather than put it there, I might even start to maybe pull back a little bit to create a bit of space. Bring this fence in line with that. This fence in line with that. Can we just squeeze that right in there? Oh, almost. But we could put it on an angle like so. Something like that. What does that look like up against that? And so we'll have the window looks out over the, of course, the cemetery that'll be there. And then I'm not sure where this road goes yet. We have yet to decide that. But I think that feels good, and it kind of is widening the road out just a little bit. So I'm going to enter that, and then we'll delete this wall as well. And I'll put in another house here. Hang on. Okay, I know there's another button, but I always, you know, my fingers don't remember where that hotkey is. So that's bought us a little more street space. And I could even continue that on, but that's okay. We'll curve back a little bit there and pull you over, and we're going to make one of these narrow allotments like we were just talking about. Like so. I could even make that just a little bigger. and keep that width. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it with the bird's eye. Yeah, I much prefer the width and then opportunity for trees and whatnot. Although, we wanted to kind of maintain some straightness, some semblance of a street. So that's good, and we'll put these people at the back here so that they aren't so near all of the... Although, is there a way that... Is there something that looks more like they have a backyard, maybe? Like, that's not bad, is it? Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll take away some of their land, just a little bit. And I'm sure they're fine with it because, honestly, they would have to pay for it, so... This is very square, isn't it? I'm going to put this on a rakish angle, I think. And let me think about that. The reason for that... Oh, no. I've escaped it. Okay, we'll rebuild that. So as I was saying, the reason for this angle of a road here is just so that I don't get too bogged down in a grid. So we'll see what kind of designs come out of that. If we place this house here, we can place yet another house right next to it with the same sort of style. And that's going to create... potentially a very narrow house right here. Then we can get like a nice big road right there. I think that'll look nice. So we have this angle here. Again, I'm not sure what I'm doing with the angle yet. I'm not sure what that's going to create. Maybe a road away from the church. And then you still have to kind of snake in to get down to the church grounds. I'm not 100% sure yet. But it's just something to kind of make sure to push me away from overcommitting to a grid. I don't want a lot of grid-like building going on here. Okay, I feel like that looks good, and I'm just going to give them a bit of space to get around to their backyard so that they can farm it. I mean, worst case scenario, I could put that on an angle. I think there's enough footprint that some people can get back there to farm that land. Maybe even this area needs to be a back alley or something. So let's place that house there. So that's a couple more houses, 3 more houses here, and another 4 coming in here. That's going to cover, hopefully, some of our fishing dreams in this area. But the real question is, a lot of these buildings, the tailor's workshop, the tannery, the other tailor's workshop, even this warehouse, are going to need some folks living here. And, well, this area is fairly undeveloped. And this is supposed to be a central, a main street. So I think what I need to do is start to bring in some houses here. We have this little road here. So based off of that, what can I get? If I put this here and kind of F1... This one's going to be quite a lot of tree chopping, that's for sure. Okay. And this could be... We almost need them to be a little denser, I'm thinking. Because this is still in the town, so you'd want these to be fairly, active. And busy, not necessarily cluttered, but just sort of... You get a sense that there's, like, a fair amount going on here. I'm not sure if pressing enter will let me. I think it's mainly just the trees that are holding us up here. And that road seems good. It seems to be on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to pull this in a little bit. Yeah, definitely less land for them to farm, that's for sure. But maybe we can get 1 or 2 houses in here, I'm not sure. So that looks good there. And again, yeah, there will be some of this, because, I mean, just... off the main street looking down there, it does look, very good to have some grid. Just not, you just don't want to make the grid your entire life. So I pressed enter, and that allotment was accepted. So that does mean that was not in a bad position. So I pressed T. No, what is it again? F. There we go. Okay, yeah, that was a lot faster. So if I pull this one here to here... Very small yard for sure, but I think, again, like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's part of life in Solidski. If you're going to live in the town, you do, there is a responsibility. I think I can take up even a bit more of that land. Let's see if that actually lets me build that, and make sure that we aren't doing any sort of rakish designs, which we are a little bit. So let's pull that back. All right, let's not encroach too much, but just a bit. I want them to have a life, but not all the land in the world. So that was accepted as a build, so that means it fit quite nicely. And here, what I want to do is create one that is at least going to allow me enough room to put another house right here and line up. So this person here is actually going to get a decent yard. Looks like somebody from Marefa is visiting. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be some oil and maybe some wheat if I have any in stock. Not going to be a huge sale, but I will make that sale just in a moment here. Pull this fence back a little bit there. That's starting to look nice. You know, I do find myself laughing at the hypocrisy of what I say when I say that I don't like grid building. And here I am working as hard as possible on creating a grid. You know, it's just, I guess what I don't like is not having the option. But I very much like grids when they serve a design. But when it's time to place those fishing villages, I want things to get very finicky. Just the way I like it. There we go. So this little housing block, I'm actually going to speed it up in terms of priority because, I don't know, I just think it's really nice looking. We'll get some of those fishing village houses done too, though. Is that this one here? Yeah, we'll move that one up of the fishing houses. Yeah, there's a lot of trees to cut too, so I want folks kind of working away on that. And preparing some houses for a lot of new entrants. This area here, I haven't figured out what to do with it yet, but I want to keep that open for now. And then what I think might be a good idea is to start to get into this wagon shed. To do that, I have my wagon shed here, which I'll need to staff, of course. I have this cart shed here, and then also there's this stable here, which will breed horses. So I think what I want to do is open this up. Okay, right away we've got some folks working at it. We'll open these jobs up as well and order some wagon sheds. We need draft horses, and I think the other issue with this is we're going to need a lot of... So we can order the horses right away, but I'm not going to. We're going to need maybe even another smithy. To create horseshoes. Let's raise our request for horseshoes. 50 horseshoes. I wonder how much iron we have left. We have 8 iron left, so we should do an iron order here, as we cannot find it locally on the map. These folks don't sell iron, but they do sell horses, but I'm not going to do that just yet. We'll sell this oil. I have 550 in stock. Not much, but every little bit helps. That's almost 100 Ukrainian doubloons that I might want to actually give to somebody in need that we tend to have. The dried fish has not started stocking up yet, so we can't offer Marefa any dried fish. I kind of thought we would start dried fish production. What's going on down here? Can't fish in the winter. They have 787 fish and 400. Oh, okay, there we go. I see. So there's batches of 50, and they're very slowly being dried. Okay, that's good to know. So it's going to take a little while, but that's, you know, that's fine. So we'll get these fishing villages up and running and making dried fish. These, I don't know. Maybe we start another... We just produce so much fish. 15,000 fish. But for variety, my people will never be hungry. I would like to see more wagons trotting around, so we're going to get going on that. We have horseshoes. I'm just trying to think of what else we're going to need to make sure that we get these. Obviously, draft horses, yes. Carpentry. Smithy. Let's just check the production line and make sure I'm not missing anything. Like a horsery. Saddlery. There you are. See? I mean, I knew we were going to need something like that. So we need horse tack. So for the time being, we're going to have to buy it, especially because we don't have a steady flow of leather and other metal parts. Do we have a saddlery inn anywhere? It'd be nice to build that somewhere. We could build it here. We could even build it like right in this little spot. The entrance point is interesting. Oh, it's off to the side like that. Okay, well, I like this little building. I just don't know if it's going to fit. Oh, I mean, it would actually fit there. But it would make that little area not very accessible. It's somewhat accessible. But man, does it look like it kind of wants to be there, doesn't it? Well, what if we put it there? But like really just like a little bit like that. Not quite. There's something occupying it. Probably the overhang of that roof is also a bit of a... Oh, I mean, it's letting me place it right there. What would that be like for this road? This road is fairly critical, I would say. So maybe it is wiser just to place it here then. Just a little bit off that path. And then rather than having a tight chunk of buildings, we could have like a garden there or some sort of thing like we have over here. Oh, it's hard to, I mean, no, I think this is for the best. So I think we'll do a saddlery right here, and we'll have to either provide or purchase leather, obviously. So we'll do a saddlery here. I'm actually going to put that on a pretty high priority so we can get it going. So we'll do a saddlery here, and then maybe, another little park here. So we use the round gazebo over there. Let's get a nice square gazebo in here. I wonder if we can get a little chapel in there, actually. Religion, small chapel. Oh, I mean, that's just plain perfect. So we're going to create a small shrinery here, a small area for some worship. Now, it does look like there is a desire path here to get into this area, so I'm actually second-guessing my placement of that. Let's destroy that before we get too far ahead of ourselves and move this saddlery, which I can't find again. There it is. Okay, we got to wait till that gets removed here. Let's try to keep those paths alive, I think. That's what I want to do. So we're going to go with a small chapel right in here. Right up against the tannery. Kind of in line with it. And then on top of that, what I'd like to do is like a fairly... That's not a bad fence, like something like this. So let's bring this fence along here. I'm going to pause the game just so I can kind of see what I'm up to. To there. To there. Right? And then let's get another one from here. It's going to be on an angle. That's okay. I don't mind that. To there. For our little place of worship. Very, very nice. Then we can put a bench in here. Now, I've had some commenters saying that the tannery is going to smell pretty bad. That is true. I understand that. However, I do feel like there's a couple of issues at play here. One of them being, that's too big. One of them being that the game itself will probably punish me for placing the tanneries out of town, because there's a lot of dependencies that need to be supplied to make the tanneries functional. So if I didn't do that, and just went ahead with placing the tanneries somewhere where they wouldn't make a big smell, I would end up having quite a lot of issues, I think, in terms of getting supplies there. Okay, I just need to remove that, and then we need to remove these 1,000 woods, please. Somebody come and get those. And then we can get this saddlery going. And the second thing is sort of just maybe it's made up. I'm willing to be wrong about this, but I do have this sense that, like, in a town such as this, I'm just going to destroy this 1,000 wood. I think that's okay. In a town such as this, you're not going to want to walk too far out in the cold just to get to your tannery, or just to get to any of these buildings. So I think I understand where people are coming from with, the smells and such, but I think that being worried about smells, dare I say, is sort of a modern problem, and not necessarily a problem that they would have had to bother themselves too much with. I think I'm going to let this get built before I do any more fencing in, but making this area nice and compact like this, I think will pay off in the long run. So we'll get that built in a little bit. We'll get the saddlery built. I guess we might as well finish this area. We've got a couple of village houses, then we can at least get these folks ready. They might even be ready in time for the melt. But that's I think that's a little too that's wishful thinking on my part there. So we'll go there. We still have 9,000 quicklime for use here, so I do feel that, like, yeah, this will be a sustainable situation for the next little while. We won't have to worry about bigger production chains or bringing in quicklime. For now, I think we're in a good spot with that. Let's see, are our tanneries doing... Yeah, okay, there we go. Tanning until June. We have our first batch going. We need 250 sheep hides for batch number 2. We could make the batches a little larger. Let's go to like 300 for the next batch. Because I feel like we put, now that we have, lime, I think we put batch number 1 together fairly easily. So we just need 20 more lime there, a bit more bark, and then we need 300 sheep hides. So yeah, let's see how much leather we get out of that tannery. And then do we not have, I thought we had built another tannery somewhere. Maybe we don't have another tannery up and running yet. That's okay. We'll just let this one roll for a bit before we start getting going here, but it'll be really nice to power up these tailors' workshops and get those going. So we have, once again, a full building list here and a lot of building to be done. So let's let that go for a little bit, and let's see what things look like in the future. The melt. Oh, no. I see that Nestor Ivanyashkin has passed away of old age, and so he goes to the Old Town Cemetery. We'll go and check that out over here across the way. Yeah, it's definitely starting to fill up a little bit. And yes, there are elements of that that are sad, but at the same time, it's also a reminder of how far we've come and the history and the roots that are being placed down here in Solidsky. Ever since Yana Volokach, our first passing in 1730. It's been 15 years since our first burial here, and I imagine it's not going to be the last, but hopefully only of old age filled with memories. I don't think there's disease yet in this game. There's no health in this game, but again, once that's placed, it's going to open up a whole new dynamic to this this place, and maybe at that point the tannery will cause problems for being so near a bunch of houses. Like I said, once you're in these little houses with a wood stove burning fire all the time, I'm not sure how much of the tannery you're really going to smell, unfortunately. Our first shipment of dried fish is off. A pack of 50 fish for 7 doubloons. That's not much, but it's a start, and it's showing us the direction that we are headed. I think I could actually start stocking salt, because salt is not that hard to make. We make quite a lot of it, so let's start stacking salt over here and selling that. I think that, I almost had a bunch of these going, and we could in the future, but for right now, let's have 2,000 salt load up at this trading post, and let's tell Marefa we could probably deliver them, 1,000. We'll see what that is, because similar to the charcoal, that could be a decent money maker just to have on hand all the time. In the meantime, the construction continues. March is here, and the melt is complete. I'll open a couple of jobs for fishing, and we're going to say only produce dry fish, but I don't think those jobs will be filled for a while. We still have these fishing houses to get done. Meanwhile, construction on the next fishing dock is well underway and already nearing completion. It is, once you get to a city like this, it really does, you start to see the speed at which you can put up some of these structures and communities, simply because we have more people. There's more in the construction office. I'll even open up another job. There's more in the construction office. There's more folks looking for work, and it just gets things done a little faster than before. Here they are waiting. Well, it's really not that deep, I guess. So I guess the waiting was always something possible. So it's good to know that I don't need to put a bridge across here, because I don't think the boats would, it wouldn't look very good, I guess. After having just said that construction was moving very nicely and things were going really quickly, I have run out of iron. So I kind of forgot about that, and we'll need to head to the world map and guess at who provided iron. I think Balaklia did, and maybe Marefa. So we'll do both of these, and we'll probably do some exports to them as well. I know that Derkachi, we just had them in, so I don't think they provide iron, and it wasn't one of the ocean-going towns, because we were able to buy iron before we ever got our trading docks up. So we'll get some iron in to help continue the construction. No required resource in export. Ah, darn. So I was a little bit greedy in preparing my salt for export. It's not being brought here, which is where that cart would have gone if it detected any salt. But there was no salt here either, so unfortunately we failed in that delivery there. That's going to cost us a little bit there. Hopefully it doesn't poison our relationship with any of those towns. I wonder if that's part of any of the development plans for this game. That there could be relationships where all of a sudden you've, wronged Derkachi in some way, so you no longer have access to their charcoal. You need to send them a gift, so you put together a nice package of honey and raspberries and send it off with the hopes that you'll make your friend back. It could be cool. Regardless, we need to wait and find out if we can get any iron from these folks here. So we have another villager. See, Derkachi, they always want some of our charcoal, which is always nice to lean on them for that. They're always after some sunflower oil. They're very good to have around. Now, we do also have some... We have 103, so we'll give you some raspberries out of our stock. Do we have any honey to sell? No. None of this stuff. I would like to sell wheat. It's not very, good. Like, it doesn't give us a huge amount of money, but I'd like to be able to just sell wheat and sell chicken eggs. Anyway, I am wrong. They actually do have iron. So that's on me. So I'm going to order up... I mean, that's only 120 Ukrainian doubloons, so I'm going to buy all that iron. So I was wrong. Derkachi definitely does sell iron. Now, iron ore... Is iron ore cheaper? What is iron ore? It's 0.05, and this is 0.12. Yeah, so iron ore would have been a lot cheaper to get, which, should have made sense right out of the gate for me. I don't know why I went right for the iron, but it does help us. We can get that to the smithy right away, and I think we would need the smeltery up and running. But this will be good to know. I'd like to build this smeltery because it's a newly added building by... the one-man dev team that is the person making Ostriv. And it just looks so, like, how cool is that going to be? I'd like to put it right there, I think, even. And that's going to be a great building to produce some iron, at which point I think we could probably put up a smithy over here and get that working for us. That might cause problems for this smithy if we're not providing it with iron, but I think in the long run it'll be nice to have... to transfer this industry over, because obviously there's no stone here, and basically very little limestone left at this point. June of 1745, and we have 250 leather delivered to the fine people. We could either sell it or we could start making it into clothes, which I believe we have some tailors across the way looking to do, so hopefully they get that leather delivered to them, because if I take summer clothes away, we need sheepskin. If I take that away, we just need, we have broadcloth. So they need sheepskin, which is leather. Maybe I've made the wrong thing here if I wanted to make warm clothes, which is kind of what I did want to make. I know that this creates sheep hides or cow hides, but not sheepskin. So there's my sheep hides, which is, I've also lowered my batch size back down to 250, simply because, I don't know, it was going to take a while to get up to 300. And once we get maybe another sheep farm or two going, then, of course, we'll have a much more steady supply of sheep to... Oh, I oversold my sunflower oil again. That's all right. So I think we're just about ready to get going. We have leather being sold, so at least, I mean, don't we have a shoe factory over here? No leather for shoes production. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get some leather to Makar over here, and he will finally have something to do and something to put on all of our residents' feet. Okay, I literally missed the buttons, but they were right here. Tan leather, tan sheepskin. I can't believe I missed those. So we do have tan sheepskin on. Maybe I'd have to turn that off. However, it looks like that's the plan for the next one. And maybe I wasn't paying attention, but maybe that first batch was all cow hides. I thought it was sheep hides, but we'll see. Once we get 50 more, we should be able to get this batch started. And we'll get some sheep hides here. We're not in a huge rush to get warm clothes because we can always buy them. But yes, I would like to become more sustainable in that way. In the meantime, the houses continue to be built. At a decent pace, we have nail production back up with a lot of imported iron. So these should be speeding up now. A trade boat sails away from our trading dock, which is starting to get a lot busier now that we're selling sheep hides, dried fish, and potatoes. In fact, we've already started gaining more stock again as after selling both of these, so that's good to see. And yes, the tannery is now working on a batch of sheep hides here. Then these cow hides will be tanned until March, and I believe they're looking to gather... I'm not sure, maybe cow hides for this batch, this third batch here, but that tannery is already off to the races. I can see definitely how we'll be able to add another tannery here and there in a little bit. However, I do have some houses being built back here, which has provided some staff at the local stable, and even the wagon shed, which has not been supplied just yet. Minimum wagon fullness, 50%. Yeah, I think that's fine. So I think where we're at is I think it's time that we bring in some horses. Let's just bring in like 2, 3 maybe horses, maybe 4 horses, two ladies, 2 fellas, and Noah's Ark style, and we'll see how they last. Hopefully they last well. We don't want them to not last, but I do need to maybe supply some hay from somewhere. Local farms eventually, but right now the only hay stock is all the way over here or all the way across over there. So we might need to create a hay dryer situation for them, but they were able to get at least 2 months food there. So I believe most of the places sell them. Let's go with Derkachi. Well, let's see what... I just want to see what Panatoon, what they have to sell, and Balaklia. Let's see what they have to sell, because those are fairly cheap to bring up. I do remember the days when money was hard to come by, and that was a very risky move, but I like opening a lot of trade and seeing what's out there. Maria Zimenko brings in our fresh batch of horses, essentially by fusing them all together and walking through them, holding them by the heart as she walks them across the bridge. I really wish I could smooth out this path or put some stone steps in around this area, but I think that's going to be for an Ostriv a long time from now. It is nice to finally see horses in town, and I can't wait to put them to work. I know that there was an option to buy draft horses as well, but I kind of just want to set up a small population of horses first and see how they do in their new home right here in these stables. Okay, I can breed them. That's good. I will. I'm going to open up another job maybe, and I'll see if there's nowhere where we can assign them a field. So that's okay. For breeding, you need at least 1 male horse per stable. The minimum breeding is 2 years. You can bring an animal aged over 2 years to be used as a draft horse. Make sure you have 4 horse shoes and 1 tack stored. So we don't have tack yet, so we might as well keep these horses happy and fed and breeding, and we'll see what kind of populations that we can muster here in this stable before we move on to the wagon shed. But I think once we get the saddlery up and see what we need for that, I think we'll be able to start mustering some pretty good wagon traffic around town. I'm looking forward to it. November of 1745, and it would appear that we had a batch of tanning. I hope it wasn't the sheepskin, but it's spoiled due to a lack of workers. So I've opened up more worker spots, and we will have to step up our efforts to build these houses here, which I've moved into high priority, so that we can supply workers for this area. We might even need some more houses down in this space here, over here. Maybe even if we could sneak a house in right there, might be good, but it is definitely something that I do not like seeing, the fact that we lost quite a lot, because, this is a very expensive resource chain. So having it in town is also another reason why it's good to have it here, because staff, if we had it out here so it wasn't smelling up the place, it might be hard to get staff out there. It might be hard to get people to consistently work there. And I'm hoping that we don't have any more spoiled batches in the future. By September of 1746, the saddlery was complete. It looks like there's just enough leather that has just been delivered, and we have some horse tack created here. So I think we might be ready to send some horses over to become draft horses. I need to figure out how many I need. Okay, so if we have an animal aged over 2 years, we can use that or prepare that horse to become a draft horse. And we do have a couple of young horses that were just born, so this is good. This makes me think that things are going okay. So why don't we take that one, and maybe get rid of this younger male as well. Oh, I need 4 horseshoes and 1 tack. Okay, so we've already done enough, and I believe they will collect the necessary tack and horseshoes and send them over here. The wagon shed is being ordered. I might even just boost that worker yield by 1 more so we can get this wagon shed going, and I believe that'll probably get us at least 1, maybe 2 going. So we're gonna get that up and running, and it looks like we'll be able to have a maximum of 3 here. So if I want any more wagons, which I absolutely do, I kind of want a nice bustling center street here, so I might need to build another wagon shed. But in the meantime, we have this area looking a lot more closer to finished off. I might actually go ahead and toss a little fence in here. Is that no, I kind of want to copy this fence and keep things looking similar. So if it comes down here and creates a bit of a path for everyone to walk, And then this could even come down about there and create sort of a sense of like maybe a yard for the carpenter there that works tirelessly making horse tack for us. I think this person, maybe they would like a cottonwood tree over in the corner here like that. And then maybe we can get a bench here just for folks to rest their laurels right there. Perfect. Okay. And then I think maybe just a bush on the corner right there maybe would look okay. It's definitely starting to get a little packed in here, so we'll have to be careful about some of our placements, but I think overall that's looking really nice. And then in this area, maybe a little birdhouse here. And yeah, a couple of bushes in here around that cottonwood tree. And then maybe a birch tree right there would also look quite nice. So there, that area is kind of filled in, and that'll grow in. It makes me think about like this area here, checking in on this forest, which seems to be growing in quite nicely. And I think we can continue the rest of that down here and really fill this area in deeply with some trees, because that is starting to look like a very nice vista down there. Over in the fishing and industrial area, we have all of the houses now built, but I put them on hold, so I think I'm going to have some folks move into these houses and probably pick up jobs at the local fishing dock. They can pick those up and start doing that work. Again, this area, we're going to have to rethink what we do with this area, as we're already almost out of limestone. I'm not sure where these miners will go next. Looks like they're either living over here or working over here. I don't think that they're going to head out and collect this stone. I would have to create another mining camp nearby, but we won't be able to do that. In the meantime, this area is now filled in as well. We have some houses here. These ones, I've got these ones on hold because I was looking at this path here and kind of saw a little spot where I had sort of screwed up. I think it's with this house. So they have a rather large family. They work at the trading post and the stable, which is right in town, and I kind of wanted to propose a slight move. I kind of want them to move into this house so that I can actually deconstruct this one and rebuild the yard. As we can see, they have a decent amount of space. This is not a bad lot to live on. But if I don't fix this now, I am always going to be looking at it and always just a little bit annoyed. I think the reason I put it this shallow in here was likely because of if I put it over here, that would create sort of a natural squeezing in of this area and make it hard to place this house. So I want to try again and see if I can't get it right this time. So let's propose relocation to this one. So they still have kind of a nice lot to live in, I think. And this house, we'll put that on hold, and we're actually going to schedule it for demolishment. And I'm going to retry that little lot right there. In the meantime, while we wait for the wagons to start going, I'm not even sure. Do we have... Okay, ordered, and one is being built. Okay, I can't wait to see that running. In the meantime, why don't we figure out what to do with this area here? I don't know... You know, a tailor's workshop could be good, but we already have 2 tailor's workshops here. And I think I need to run another tannery, especially because we have all these cow hides. And I think all these cow hides to deal with are going to be very tricky. If I put a tannery over here, that makes the most sense. However, then they need to bring salt, lime, bark, all those items over there from over here. I almost want to put another tannery in right here in this space. Where is the tannery? I always forget. The tannery is right here. So if I were to put that there, like, it would fit. But it would start to create a bit of a squeeze on that main street. And this, I think, would stick out just a bit too much for my liking. Like, that being right there is cutting off a fair amount of the walk would be cut off with this tannery. However, that does create a nexus point where I can bring a lot of the cow hides. I think they're being brought over okay. Max batch size, we could increase that. However, maybe we could look at putting a tannery up in this area. I think in the next few episodes, I'm going to want to develop a very large sort of farming area, because I'd love to start finally having lots of extra wheat and buckwheat, and maybe even get up some pig production, some pigs and some more chickens and stuff. And I feel like that's the perfect use of this area here. Well, of course, we will finish our production by placing the smeltery right here, maybe another smithy over here, and then we can start bringing in some iron ore, maybe a workshop or two over here. So we'll move a lot of smithing production to over here, and I think I'll keep this blacksmith up and running as well, because we can always bring in iron over here and make sure to use it on a number of projects. So make sure that there is some local supply in the old town. But I think if we bring iron ore in at a much cheaper rate, we can smelt it over here and get that building up and running, which will be quite nice. I think another market will be in order too, perhaps on a street behind the church here. Another granary down here as well to supply this one and supply all the other ones. But then, yes, we are definitely coming to a sort of conclusion where everything has been built and we now have a fully operational and bustling town. I think since we get if we're going to do the tannery down there, I think why not just put another house here? We have our tavern here, which doesn't have any alcohol on the regular market. Which I suppose I could do now. Let's get rid of this fence. And maybe we'll leave that fence up now. No, actually we don't need that fence, so we'll get rid of this as well. So we have our fully accessible and open main street, which obviously doesn't look like much right now. But once we get some more wagons going on. Now, where did that one ordered go? We have... This one draft horse is waiting to be relocated. But I'm not sure to where yet. So, is this our wagon? Oh my goodness, there it is. Our first wagon. Now wagon traffic comes to the town, and I can't help but think in 1746 if the folks looking around and seeing that the town that they'd worked so hard to build now has their own dedicated wagon, and the prospects of traffic on the roads, I can't help but wonder if they're just proud of what they have. I'm not sure what order he just ran, but they've done a good job. He's a carpenter, so he must have done something. I assume he was just delivering the cart. Maybe we'll open up another job here. Minimum wagon fullness, 50%, I think is an okay one to set it at for now. Regular deliveries, special deliveries, and supply for construction. Let's just keep that for now until we really get dialed in with what we want to use it for. We could potentially also put a tannery right here, I suppose, which would help take up a lot more of the materials that are across the river. And I do intend to wrap up this stone mining camp. In fact, what we should do is like warehouse, add stone, which doesn't appear to be available to us, even though I know that it is. Okay, so we can hold iron there, but I guess we can't hold stone. Maybe that's the issue. So we'll leave that for now, but I'd like to move the stone out of here so that we can use it on construction like the church, and then deconstruct this stone mining camp as well. However, if we put a tannery there, I mean, maybe we need a third one. We could have a tannery here and one down there. Let's do that, because that'll at least take care of all those cow hides that are building up on the south shore, and not create a need to, ship them all over the place. So if I keep this in mind with the street level, I could probably get it about there. And that gives us a nice wide, I've learned my lessons from the previous episodes, to leave a nice wide avenue there. So we'll get another tannery built in here, and that seems like an okay road, a little bit of a sort of a wonky shape here. And then so I think this little triangular space, let's see if we can fit a house there. I want to see if I can fit a house right here maybe. We'll hit F1 on that, and then what is the shape like? It's like something like this. This could be a very bizarre lot to live on. This is almost the bridge keeper's, lot. So if we brought that to there, I don't want to make that same mistake again, but I also want to leave enough space that they might be able to find a bit of a yard to grow in. I'm not sure if this is going to work at all. This might be way too small. If I put this here and rotate it just right, it looks like we have a bit of a problem there. I need to take up a bit more space. The house should be inside the fenced area. Yes, I agree. Okay, so it looks like it's actually going to make it. It's inside the fenced-in area. However, There is no way they're going to get into this little corner there, which does kind of make that useless. What if I put it something like this? Yeah, no, the design is simply a little too tight. And we almost need to pull it even further back in. But if I do this a little bit, will they kind of come off there? That's okay. That doesn't look terrible. I just don't think there's any way we're going to be able to get them actually able to access any of that land on that side of their lot. It's kind of nice, though. It's cute. And, you know, logistics aside, I do wonder if some of the parts that they can farm are sort of automatically farmed. I don't see them ever really toiling in their yards that much. Although it is October, so maybe I just missed it. Let's see what it's like. Let's build it. Let's put it on hold, just in case we need to, you know, immediately deconstruct it. Oh, it looks like we have a family that is out of money here. Now, what's going on here? He works at the smithy and the market stall. We'll give him a little bit of our finances here. Now, that should be decent enough jobs, although it looks like they have an absolutely massive family, so they must be going through a lot of food. We need to get them some houses immediately. In the meantime, this house has not finished deconstructing yet, so we're going to speed up time here and make sure that that gets done. Over here, you can see I've done a little bit of a width, a step down, so this is a little wider here, and I would like to compensate for that by going back to the roots of what we started doing in the old town. One of my favorite things to do in this game. Just a little bit of decorating and giving them some options. Look, they're already wanting to sit there, so that's good. Just giving them some slight options for taking a load off around town. Okay, so we've got that completed. Now that's not quite lining up, is it? So let's delete this one and make sure that that's a little more symmetrical. At least just a bit more symmetrical. Okay, and then I think this calls for birch trees. Do we like birch trees for this? The demolition is complete. Excellent. I think maybe the ash trees were my favorite. So we'll do a little row of ash trees here. A little row of ash trees here, and then maybe two in the center if we can fit them. Looks like we can. And then some bushes around that as well. Yeah, when this grows in, that is going to be a truly nice space. And I think that's going to look really nice, too, set against the back of the church, which is also something we should consider for this area here. It'd be nice to put a row of trees here, although I guess we can do that in this area on this side of the fence, and then have some houses backing up to it. Will look quite nice once we've moved them in. Okay, so with this, there's this pathing bug again, but that will go away once we reload the game. It'll be a bit annoying because this is exactly the spot I would like to do some designing work. There's 3,500 wood that we're waiting to get cleaned out of this area so we can try, or attempt to place a house in this little spot once more. It ended up being a nice looking lot too, so I do like that. I like making any moves I can like this here to lean away from just building a grid. I want to make it seem a little more hodgepodge, but still fairly organized. Like, I really like how this area turned out here, the industrial sector, all built around this sheep farm. Well, really all built around this farm. So we're definitely going to want to continue that look out in this space too. Lots of complex little areas, and then the farmland just spreads out away from it. So we'll probably build this design, 3 or 4 times up in this space, and then all leads into all the housing, and then a slaughterhouse, of course, and all the things leading towards the tannery. I feel that this area here will be what needs to bring us out our salt and bark and things, but again, we're right here. The forestry is right here, so with enough warehouses, we should be able to stand up a pretty big agricultural industry. It looks like I have 2 wagons now. I would love to see them. This one's taking a bit of damage, all right, but it seems like they'll get used. I would love to see them being used more often, and I'm wondering if maybe they need to be placed in more critical areas, similar to the cart shed. Like they aren't going to work if they're placed here, but this will be good to have these near the center of town, as I imagine maybe the granary folks would want to use them. But it might be a good idea to build a few more of these out in this space here. Maybe we can build one down here. Let's just go ahead and do that. Trade and transport. Let's build ourselves a wagon shed here. It might need Okay, can we just line that up like that? That's going to look great. Actually, yeah, I'd like to... No, let's line it up this way. So we have a little bit of a road. It meets the path of the houses. Something like this. Bit of a road like so. So let's get that wagon shed built. Which, hopefully that's not too... It looks like I've started to do it again where I push in too close. Yeah, but I guess that's mostly just the opening area. Okay, let's actually... I'm going to demolish it. I'm going to move it back just a little bit. Just a little bit further back. Wagon shed. Okay, and now, of course, there's that bug where I'm going to have to wait my turn. So I have to wait for them to finish chopping the trees down, but also to move these supplies. I could destroy the supplies just to move things along a little faster. Like, there's 500 wood left here, but it looks like, I mean, they're almost going to get that. I just almost want it to be complete before we put that house back in. But if we get a wagon shed in this area, that might end up, you know, being used more frequently than the wagon shed here. It's just kind of nice to see this along the main road, especially once this main road gets fully etched in. As you can tell, I'm waiting to see what kind of cart traffic is needed, and then we might put a center boulevard down here. We might as well do some trading here. So who is that? Durkachi, so they always want charcoal. That's a great amount of income for us. Always happy to help them with that. Do we have any? We have some honey in stock. We can sell 500 of that. And a few raspberries. That's not bad. I'm sure some folks will find some use for that. And 1,000 sunflower oil. That's more than usual. So I think we must have had a good sunflower haul before the winter set in. Very good. Okay, that's going to be some very healthy trades coming in there. Okay. If that log is still there, yeah, it's still there. It's not going to get dealt with. So let's destroy these resources, really destroy, and let's get this house sorted out before it gets too snowy here. I'll have to wait for that to despawn. There we are. And let's place this house. So we're going to hit, I think that's a good spot for the entrance. So we're going to hit F1 right away. And this is going to be, this is the part that gets a little bit weird because, you know, obviously we want it to, like, mirror the shape of this path and create, we want basically roads all the way around it. And that definitely makes it a little tricky. Because so that makes it kind of look like this is the lot that we're looking for here. So we could do something like that. And that would look a little better. But oh my goodness, is it ever a very, let's say, creative lot. We'll say it's a creative lot for sure. It's hard because what do I want it to mirror? This fence or the other fence? None of it measures out quite right. But we allowed for a little bit of chaos in Solyudsky. After all, they're just trying to get by. So if I bring this out even more, we're getting a too long error, but we could go, the house should fit inside this fenced area. That's fine. I think we can get that. So let's put this house in the fenced area. Yeah, I can see why we made it the way we did, because unless we make some sacrifices in some spaces, we simply aren't going to have enough land to get the house in there. We could make this little alleyway a little better. And we could cut this up a little bit. Something like that. Okay, how about now? Can we get the house in there? Almost. I think our best bet will be like here. But if we were to do that, we'd have to really shrink this. Yeah, so we'd have to shrink that down by quite a bit, which is obviously what ended up happening. Okay, what about a very, very small alleyway? Like that. How about there? Okay. Can I have my road back a little bit? Okay, this says it's too long, but that's okay because we can buy some space here. Now, we do have the places occupied warning. If I... oh, I can't do it unless I tab out of this, if I want to place the entrance here, for instance. So we're actually going to need to... negotiate that a little bit. It kind of needs to be... Oh my goodness, it's working. Okay, here we go. This is getting closer. This is, again, quite the yard. And we could put something here to kind of sell this look a little bit. There's a very thin alleyway here. Maybe take that tree out to make that work. We could also bring this a little further back. So similar to the other road... we may find that we run into the same problem, which is to say, Well, I guess what we could do is move these folks out and pull their fence a little bit over. And then that would help us with that, because it looks like, yeah, you can see here we're going for that same pinch point again. So I'm going to actually need to... It's this house that's going to be the problem, because we simply can't create more space for this house. That said, though, we see that it's very pinchy there, and know that they can farm this side because they were before we deconstructed it. So let's put this back in, which is a real shame that we've basically gone all the way back, but that's okay. Do we have another house that's on hold? Yes, we do. So let's move this family. Proposed relocation. Let's move them into there. And put that one on hold and then demolish it. There we are. So we'll have this family in there. That's going to look good. And then I think we just take this house and we'll finish fixing up that yard. This area here, as a reward for all of their patience with my constantly moving people about, I think we need a bench out here. I think a nice, like a working man's bench would be nice. Not one of the really nice ones, but just one where maybe the traders can come and sit while they're waiting for their wagons to be loaded up with our wares. This, of course, being one of the spots where we're selling a lot of salt. So this is definitely going to be a workman's area. So that's going to look nice when it fills in. And I think opposite that, we could put one here, kind of guessing at where the fence line is going to be. So let's put a bench in there. Rotate that. Something like that. Oh, it is nice to see. I believe this is one of ours. Can I select who it is on... Oh, I just got it there. Who is that? So he's a worker from a wagon shed, and he's supplying resources. I'm not sure where he's going, but I absolutely love to see the wagon trotting up and down there. So it's going to be nice to see that fill in and start to happen more often around town. I might have to delete that tree. That tree might be placed a little too early as I wait to make sure that I can get that house back in there, but we'll see what happens. So we'll get that tree back in there. These houses will be built before the end of the winter. Let's go give these folks some money. Now let's go back and check that wagon. Where's that wagon headed? That's a cart. Okay. Oh, I see. Our wood is full, so he's loading up. How much can this hold? 1,800, 2,400. So 2,500 it can hold, which it's hard to tell how full that is, but hopefully it's as full as it was requested to be. And there's this gentleman who's carrying... How much is he carrying? We're not able to see. That's all right. But very nice to see the delivery of some wood happening. Where is he taking that wood? Oh, he's taking it to this house. And he's able to deliver all of the wood needed to complete construction. So yes, that's going to be nice to have a lot more wagons delivering huge loads of goods around, because that is definitely going to speed up production here in this town. Is this another one of our wagons? Tell me it is. It's another wagon delivering 600 clay to the construction site. Already the modernization of Solidsky is well underway. I believe this episode started in the winter and it ends in the winter as well, with some modifications to this area being done and many folks moving in. In fact, we have opened these, so we have some new people, Stepan and Artem and Anastasia and Lyubov. They bring their children with them. So things are definitely looking up in this area. We'll get that wagon cart built here eventually. Once this wood is removed, I can build that in there. And I think we'll continue cutting these trees down. There's plenty of work for the foresters to do around this area. I'd love to put another farm in here, but that's going to wait for many a year, because I think the big focus of the next episode is going to be building out this area. And maybe even, what do you say? Let's get going on that church too. After they've done their chores, they can start building this church. So we'll pull that stone up from there, start building the church in, start building the houses out around it, and really settle in to the final beautiful form that is Solidsky. Let's see if we can't send up one of these. Let's get that one set up, and we'll get 3 wagons in here and start really just clogging the roads with wagon traffic. It's all starting to look very nice here in Solidsky. I hope you found that episode to be some truly solid content. I know I did. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Ostriv.